Peace and love, peace and love. It's your brother Garfield in the building. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I got a special guest, and that's my brother Reggie. And he's going to drop some information today for the family. And I'm just waiting for him to jump on so that he could do his thing. And I want to say peace and love to everybody. We haven't been live in a while. But let me put the, hold on there, what is this? No, the wrong channel. Wrong channel, wrong channel, wrong channel. Channel, switch accounts. Okay, this is the right channel. Okay, brothers have the wrong account. Okay. Hold on, let's switch my account. Here we go, Brother Garfield podcast. All right. Channel. We good. All right. So we good. I'm just waiting for Brother Reggie to jump on and we could do what we do. All right. Here's my brother Reggie. He's been admitted in, ready to put on a Soundboy killing. That's Reggie for you. Reggie, oh, you look like you're hiding. But I'm hiding. You're about to drop some mad good science right now. Don't be hiding, bro.
No. I just want to make sure that the title says that Isis was not a virgin, not born a virgin.
Okay, Brother Reggie destroys the Kemetic lie. Isis was born a virgin. That's what I put.
Right. I don't want to change that. Isis was. Say it again.
I said, Brother Reggie destroys the Kemetic lie. Isis was born a virgin.
Okay, I don't want to say she was born a virgin. I would say that Isis was a virgin, right? So not born a virgin because
I'm sorry. I gotta change that. I'm gonna change it. Change it right now.
Yeah, the virginity myth of Isis. Brother Reggie destroys the virginity myth of Isis.
Okay.
Isis is fine because these people are actually Greek.
Yeah, they're following the white man version of Kemet. So yeah. Brother Reggie destroyed the Kemetic lie. Isis was a virgin, or how do you want to word it?
Yes, the Isis virginity myth destroys the Isis virginity myth.
Isis virginity myth. That's kind of ironic because she's a myth. So Isis virginity myth. All right. Here we go. All right, that's changed.
Yeah.
We go back to the video. All righty. How's everybody out there doing, by the way? I'm going to mute my mic. I'm actually going to make you the host, Brother Reggie, so that you are in full control. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll make you the host so you can do whatever you want. I have no say in this.
You could put up your disclaimer. The views and opinions.
Nope, the views and opinion with Reggie, I agree with 100%. I ain't gonna do that. Let me say this, by the way, too. I'm working on an article, a presentation called "Is Kemet the White Man's Religion?" And what it is, it's basically showing the root of how Kemet came into the conscious community and where the roots are. Because if people don't know that, it's a shame that a lot of the stuff that we hold on to comes from people who are not from our community. Sekou, I see you in the chat. Just to let you know, me and Brother Rawborn are doing a show Saturday or Friday night about you, and it's called The Lies of Brother Sekou. Okay? We caught you in a couple of lies, my brother. We caught you in a couple of lies that you told. You flim-flammed us with the French, and we got somebody to translate the French properly for us. So we're gonna deal with that. All right. Smash Rockwell said, "Good luck." Yeah, all right. Don't worry about it. You're gonna be on my side when I'm done. Well, anyway, brother Reggie, the floor is yours, and I'm gonna mute my mic and I'm out. Do you, brother?
All righty, so let's just do this. All right, peace and love and power for the best interests of our people. Let me reintroduce myself. My name is Brother Reggie, a student of many of the greats, a direct student of many of the greats, one of the last between this new generation and the old generation. And when I mean old generation, I mean the scholars themselves and my peers, my older peers that are my brothers and sisters, right? I have spent a enormous amount of time working in the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization, among the other greats that I'm talking about, led by Dr. Jacob Carruthers, Dr. Malana Karenga, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Asa Killiard, and in Brother Professor Small and others. So that's my resume, right? I got a real resume. Why not hide it? Because it seems that people have been popping up that don't have longevity. My conversation today, presentation, is killing the ISIS virgin like Mary myth. And so let's just let the games begin. So let me just share my screen. Hopefully you can see my screen. That I need to check. Garfield, can they see my screen? I'm not in the chat, so I'm gonna have to check the chat to see if people can see my screen. 1 second.
You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good.
All righty.
Put it back up. Put it back up. There you go. It's on the screen.
All right. So, unfortunately, ancient Egypt, the studies of Tawi civilization, Hindu civilization, then called now Kemetic civilization, is new to our people. We've only had it for the last 30 years. We've only had it for the last 30 years. In that 30 years, only a few people have actually been able to get the skill set to read the Medu Neter. We have more now than we had with our older class of scholars that gave us a lot of information that the new generation has never checked. And the older generation, many of them relied on sources, but didn't have the material to check it. So this is not about knocking my elders because they relied on their sources. And their sources, unfortunately, weren't good. And again, we only really began this work 30 years ago. Sure, Sheikh Diop and others in the 50s and 60s, Antonin Furman, prior to him, Delaney, but the primaries were difficult to have. So now we have more primaries. Killing the ISIS virgin myth like Mary myth. What do we want to say ISIS or do we want to say a set? The reason why I say that is because most of us actually believe in the ISIS virgin myth, and we call it the African Aset. So we're actually many times looking at ISIS. We're not really looking at a set. Because if we looked at a set, we would have to look at the primary materials. So what our Greek Kemetic teachers are teaching us, and some of our elders have taught us, is really about looking at it from ISIS. So I'm gonna read this passage from one of the myths. The tree became far and wide for its thick trunk and beautiful flowers. It became so well known, in fact, that the local rulers, King Malcander and Queen Athenius, determined it to be the perfect pillar for their new palace and had the tree cut out. Unbeknownst to them, the section they had chosen to use for the pillar contained the body of Osiris. Isis arrived too late to find her husband and recognized that she had lost him once again. She sat in moot despondency long enough to draw attention of a pair of Queen Athena's handmaids. The handmaids struck up a conversation with the depressed goddess and became perfumed by their proximity to her. So these words, Athenius, and you can look and find them around the 1st century BC, 4th century BC, right? Athenius is a 4th century prophetess who told Alexander the Great of his alleged divine descent. So Athenius in the 4th century told Alexander that he was going to be the great pharaoh of ancient Egypt. Nice. This story winds up in one of the Assyrian myths. Your teachers, who you are faithful to them as adherents or servants or even slaves, don't separate out ancient African lore from the lore of who you really believe, which is the Greeks. So this is the Isis. This is one of the Isises that you get your story from her. Let's go to another one. If in this debate that Brother Garfield has with Brother Jabari, if Jabari uses any Greek references to link Egyptian Christianity, as in the context of did Christianity stole ancient Egypt, then we know that he is referencing the Greeks. And if he's referencing the Greeks, he's not a priest of Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, New Kingdom. He's a priest of the late period and a priest possibly of the Ptolemies. Now, I don't know what he's going to do yet, but I listened enough. But you know, my conversation doesn't matter because you all know my research is poor. You all know that. My research is poor because he said it. Great. The songs of Isis and Nephthys. You should know by the title that it's 4th century BC Greek, even though it's written in the African language in the version of hieratic. It says, the firstborn in the womb of your mother. Oh, that you would come to us in your former shape. The firstborn who opened the womb, whose body was weary when it was bandaged. Where is he who once trod the earth, who was great even in the womb, with Uraeus on his head? The Lord, the child who came forth from the womb of her, whom the gods made pregnant, who opened the west out of due season. He is indeed a son who opened the womb, and the power of Geb is over his mother. Well, this is one of the stories that we believe is ancient Egyptian, but it's Greek. And we can get connotations or false connotations that she was a virgin by these wordings of the first to open the womb. And some people might say that she's a virgin, right? She didn't say, well, in this case, we're going to have to look for the Greek sources and we're going to have to look at the hieratic to see if it says open the vagina. But nevertheless, it's not a traditional African story. Now, you might say the Greeks got it from the ancient Egyptian priests. You might say that. You're going to have to show the evidence of it in Egyptian texts. But let's continue. Now, the Kemetic Greek Christians, the Greek Kemetics will try to draw some conclusions that Isis is like Mary and Horus is Jesus, and we got the stories from ancient Egypt. Well, in ancient Egypt, Tawi Hindu civilization, no Egyptologist, if we want to rely on them, says that Isis or Set was a virgin. They don't say that. So she's not a virgin. She can't have an immaculate conception. She may have a magical birth, but we could talk about that later. So, did a Set have sexual intercourse? Or did she have just a magical birth without sexual intercourse? Well, let's see what the studies say. Life and culture in ancient Egyptian Near East. Seth managed to get hold of Osiris' body again and cut it up into 14 parts where he scattered it all over Egypt. Then Isis went out to search for Osiris a second time and buried each part where she found it, hence in the many tombs of Osiris that exist in Egypt. The only part that she did not find was God's penis, for Seth had thrown it in the water where he had been eating it. So even in this story, so it says Isis therefore fashioned a substitute penis to put in its place. So she had also had sexual intercourse with Osiris after his death. That's not me, that's the author, which resulted in the conception of the birth of the posthumous son, Harpocrates or Horus Ked, Horus the child. And we get that sourced from another section, Romancing the Oriental Gods. Isis resolved to hide the sarcophagus, but unfortunately Seth stumbled upon it one night while out hunting. In a fury, he removed the body and ripped it open into 14 parts where he possessed the scatter about the entire country. Isis then began a sad tour up the Nile, protected by the crocodiles, in order to locate the pieces of the dissembled brother husband. One by one, she discovered all of them and gave them burial, either as one version has it where she found them, or by having statues of Osiris made out of an aromatic wax and establish a defunctive cult at each site in order to prevent Seth from discovering which tomb was the real one, and to ensure that the cult became as widely diffused as possible. We get this story from Diodorus Siculus, Strabo, Cynic, the superstition in that source. So we know that that's a Greek source. But you hear over and over many of our elders who we don't, if the elders who had passed were alive, we would ask them to show their sources so that they correct it for the people. If they were alive, if they're not alive, we leave it based on they were using these same sources. Because Seth had tossed it into the Nile, so she makes a replica and sets it up for worship, which continued down to Plutarch's day. So we're looking at not your ancient Egyptians, we're looking at the people who conquered ancient Egypt and the Egyptian priests who did not want to die and go to the afterlife and have their heart weighed by the feather of truth, work with the foreigners, work hand in hand with them. And they gave him a story. So it was not, well, Garfield will have to show, Garfield will show that it wasn't stolen, that the ancient Egyptians priests gave to survive, because they didn't really believe in the afterlife, the foreign kings. And that continued down to Plutarch. Barbalesco, Egyptologist at Brown University, drawing on contemporary funerary papyri, show her as a kite hovering above Osiris. And this is interesting. Who is revived enough to have an erection and impregnate his wife? The great goddesses of Egypt. So again, Lesko is saying that she had sex. She wasn't a virgin. Francois Donard said after having sexual intercourse in the form of a bird with the dead god she restored to life, she gave birth to a posthumous son. So Francis Donard said she had sex. Richard Wilkerson says through her magic, Isis revived the sexual member of Osiris and became pregnant by him. Oh, maybe we're getting the Osiris drama wrong altogether. Maybe Osiris was never really resurrected on Earth. Maybe she just revived his sexual member. Anyway, she had sex with it. Geraldine Harris Pinch said Isis already knows that she is destined to bear a child who will be the king. In order to bring this about, she had to revive the sexual powers of Osiris. Just as the hand goddess aroused the penis of the creator to create the first life. You're talking about the spittle and the masturbation to create life in one of the cosmologies. Egyptologists say that Isis and Osiris, or Set, and Usir had sex. If you have a problem with what I said, you bring the sources that say that they did not have sex, and I'm going to show you why you will fail. So don't even look for it. Researchers with Christian filters and comedics who rely on past teachings without researching have made the fallacy of analyzing Set, the mother of Horus, with Mary, the mother of Jesus, in the context of a virgin state. Mary, the mother of Jesus, was an immaculate conception in their faith. That's their faith. Immaculate conception is Roman Catholic dogma that interprets that Mary herself was born without sin. Thus, Jesus' birth was from a sinless woman. Further, Mary being a virgin is necessary for her sinless and his sinless. But that's Roman Catholic dogma. Maybe you're still Roman Catholic. Maybe you just can't get it out of it, right? Some of you, Baptist, Roman Catholic, your pastor made such an impression on you. It made you stupid. We already know that the Immaculate Conception is Roman Catholic dogma and an add-on for their purposes. You can look up the definition of Immaculate Conception. We've done that several times. It's dogma. It doesn't even exist in their text. It's an add-on. Researchers noticing the story of Isis and Set having a magical birth of Horus sought to tie the two. Researchers, and may I say pseudos, and some of our elders. The problem is that there was not the dogma of the Immaculate Conception around when the ancient Egyptians fashioned their story. Now, let's apply some terms to the African context. So maybe we can render the African term to just a young woman who has not become pregnant yet or available for marriage, right? But that's not the same as being a virgin. European scholars studying classical European civilization and Greek civilization will make the connection, but I haven't found a textual source with a Set as a Hawamwet in the context of conception. What text do we have that talks about the conception directly, that links the word Hawamwet, which means maiden, to a virgin? So maybe we should analyze the concept of Hawamwet to be closer to fertility, which is concepts in Africa from the beginning, rather than virgin, which sits largely in the European context, right? their chastity, their virgin, their religion, you're still Christians. So you think like Christians. But in the African context, it's a little bit different. So this sits, what I'm saying, sits well with ancient Tawi myths of a Set, Hawat, Hor, Sekhmet, and other female deities, that they are fertile. And the way I want to look at this is African ancient Egyptian language is built on connections, and philosophy is built on forces. And it's also built on something called zoomorphism. So that's where humans take the qualities of animals, right? So the word Hawamwet has a counterpart of being a young, youthful woman, but a counterpart of being a young lioness. Now, in Africa, the young lioness female is fierce. She may have had sex many times, she's just not pregnant yet. But she's a fierce hunter. She's usually on the front line, right? And so that would be a title that you associate some of the deities with. So again, she might have had sex with lions, male lions, many times, she's just not pregnant. Hawamnet is associated with that female lion, that type of female lion. There's another lion, female lion, but she has cubs. She's usually not at the front line. She's tending to her cubs and the cubs of the rest of the female lionesses while they're on a hunt from hyenas. She's fierce, but she is already known to be penetrated because she's had a child. The other ones, it's just unknown whether or not they have been penetrated, but she is also a violent female lion. And Africans will look at the qualities of lions and other animals to give it to their gods and their people. So to check, we might want to check zoomorphism, we might want to check the meta nature. So I'm going to get to that. Now, let me tell you not so read former Christians about conception in Africa. Do the ancient Egyptians, ancient Africans, do they believe in the sperm and the egg? Maybe we'll come back to this on question and answers. Do they believe in the sperm and the egg? No. Ancient Egypt does not believe in the sperm and the egg. They don't believe that the sperm and the egg unite to create a child. Ancient Egyptians believe that the male member ejaculates a whole human into the womb. I guess you didn't know that. Huh. So let's see what, you don't have to believe me, because my research is poor, and you rely on people that give you Greek material instead of primary material. And now on September 17th, we will see one of them being caught. But let's just see. And Marcy Roth, noted scholar, written many materials. She writes, this belief that woman is largely responsible for fertility persisted in European even through early modern times. In England, for example, as late as the first years of the 19th century, a woman's pregnancy was thought to invalidate a claim of rape, since it was believed that women could not conceive unless intercourse was consensual. This belief is essential, credited women with control over conception and consistent with the Western assumption that the power to create new life resides in the female. Well, we're European trained. We all believe that. Women have, at the end of the day, in all these faves, if the woman conceives a child, it's her fault. She's responsible, right? She has to go through trials of rape, but not the men. That's in India, that's in places of the Arabic countries. maybe a few places in Africa, largely in Europe, certainly in America. You get raped, you got to take a rape kit. Okay. But ultimately in the United States, they just knocked down Roe versus Wade, and they put it back on the female. They don't. The female has to carry the rapist child, right? She has less control. But however, Egyptologists have tended to assume that this Western model was also held in ancient Egypt. And let me just add, Egyptologists and Comedics have tended to assume that this Western model was also held in ancient Egypt. However, if we define fertility specifically in the act of creation itself, it can be argued that in ancient Egypt, women were not credited with creating new life. Instead, the creative role is attached exclusively to the male sex, whether it's a god or human. This association can be clearly seen in the language where the verb that we translate as to conceive a child is the same as the Egyptian verb used to receive or to take. In the Egyptian view, then the woman receives the child already fully created from the man. I bet y'all didn't know that. This view is stated explicitly in Agnon's hymn to Aten, praising the God as creator of human life. The hymn says that he has planted seed in a woman and made the sperm into a person. So, in ancient Egyptian thought, you can't be a virgin and have a magical birth. You can have intercourse with gods or humans, but you have to have intercourse because it's the male that shoots the whole person. So Christianity is not equivalent to African or ancient Egyptian thought on that. Christianity did not steal that, but it's actually made to look like that because guess what, family? You don't know enough. Now, I'm just going to illustrate that point. Oh, we come to the famous Hebrew dagger of ISUPK and what happened on Kemet on Trial and others, where you have Geb, the father of the gods. And how I know it says that? Because it says it here. Geb, he is the father of the gods, right? I'm not going to do the meta nature transliteration and make it language, but this is Geb, and he is the Etaf, the father of the Netzeril. He's the father of the gods. And here's the child that he is going to shoot into his consort. Fully formed, right? Fully formed human is going to be shot into his consort. Oh, well, she may have been a virgin before conception, but she is definitely going to have sexual intercourse because this is basically kind of a mounting type of without actually having the sex shown. Okay. So this was not stolen from Christianity. What it was remixed. And you, my family, would never look it up or never even think about it until Brother Garfield challenged Brother Jabari on what Brother Jabari may be saying is ancient Egyptian, but is really Greek, Hellenistic, Persian. And they use more of that thinking to create Christianity than they used Africa. So This part is not stolen. Let me just continue. Now, some of you ancient Egyptologists, Kemetologists, Egyptomaniacs, you think that ancient Egyptian or religion is pure. It's not pure. Over and over again, you've had groups of people come into Egypt, and at sometimes, depending on who they were, sometimes mixed people who become kings, sometimes the wives whispering in the ears, sometimes the priest's wives. Ancient Egyptian, Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom changes. We have an important story. One of the stories that you use to talk about Isis, Horus, or Set, if you want to be fly like you do, is the Contendings of Horus and Seth. Right? You like to use some of that element, those elements. I'm gonna tell you an element that you don't use. Well, there's a woman named Anath. She's the Canaanite god. She enters into Egypt in several periods. The 19th dynasty is the period where we're most interested in. Egypt is changing rapidly. You know, a lot of kings is having foreign, going to the strip joint in the Delta, having foreign wives. A lot of mixed children are being born. A lot of stuff is happening in the 19th dynasty. But all for you, all ancient Egyptian is ancient Egyptian. Just say ancient Egyptian and brush your teeth is all ancient Egyptian. Even if it was modified out of the original belief system, it's still ancient Egypt. Well, Anath, let's just read what I wrote. In the 19th dynasty, we had Canaanite female deities. I might have misspelled that, so I'll do this on the fly. Yeah, do that on the fly. Deity Anath. She is prominent with many of the foreign tomb builders that were hired by the Tawi for tomb building, you know, the royal tombs. These foreign tomb builders shared their childhood beliefs with the beliefs of their new home. They mixed it. That's called synchronization, syncretic. Anath is the former female deity. We find herself in the syncretic Tawi and Canaanite, misspelled that again, version of the Contendings of Horus and Seth. Here is where Egyptologists build their concepts of virgin from, as she is a maiden, right? Now, she's also a maiden, but she's a young woman, but she's also a virgin. So this goddess, Anath, is distinguished for her heroic spirit and courage. She is mighty fighter who devastates her foes and loves to bathe her feet in the blood of those she has slain. She is a loyal sister to Baal, supports him in struggles against Mot, inflicts terrible blows upon the Confederates of Mot, and when Mot succeeds in slaying Baal, she avenges him with unrestrained fury. In order to support Baal's demand, she behaves insolently. Right now, like all other female deities, Anath was associated with the idea of fertility. I agree with that. This explains why, despite her dreadful cruelty and foe, she was regarded as a goddess of life and an ally of Baal, right? Now, thinking here that I might have left it out, but a customary epithet applied to her in Ugaritic writings. Who is really your daddy when it comes to this, right? Because you Cometics don't read, is Bitlet, the virgin. So Anath is a virgin. So from the 19th dynasty on, when Anath comes in, we get the concept of virginity. And that goes on and continues in the other stories. But the ancient Egyptian stories, I'm talking about Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, you're going to have to show that virgin persists. But I've already showed you here that there is no immaculate conception in ancient Egypt. Women have intercourse with males. That's their job, and males have a job. We have a job to seed the women. But the ancient Egyptians didn't believed that the sperm contained the full man, and it relied wholly on the man to produce the children. So you're going to have to come back and go into your religious centers and your places where you teach pseudo information, and you're going to have to regroup. Now, so in the Contendings of Horus and Seth, and I know research is boring, and I know I'm boring and I'm poor, but I'm giving you my sources. In the Contendings of Horus and Seth, then Neith, the great god's mother, sent a letter to the Ennead, right, the Pesed Neteru, saying, award the office of Osiris to her son Horus. Don't commit such blasphemous acts of equity, which are illegal, or I shall become so furious that the sky will touch the ground. The universal Lord, the bull who resides in Heliopolis, ought to be told, enrich Seth in his possessions. Give him Anath and Astarte, your two daughters, and install Horus in the position of his father Osiris. Oh, shoot. Astarte and Anath are daughters of the great bull. Canaanite deities and their concepts in the Contendings of Horus and Seth is part of ancient Egyptian lore. So when we start reading concepts, looking for, searching Isis and the Sed and Mary and Jesus, we find these concepts that are not necessarily born in ancient Egyptian. In the debate on September 17th, I am really sure that Garfield Reed will source all of the stories that Horus is Jesus, or where the opponent may say that he is Jesus, to show that that's absolutely incorrect. In ancient Egyptian, now the sources that that Jabari will rely on, and we know this because he's already done presentations, the crucifixion of the sun, and a lot of these weird Greek things. Isis is the virgin, all that type of stuff. Well, we're going to find who said it. And what I'm showing to you, be very careful in your Kemetic practices in religion. You may be practicing foreign stuff and calling it African. So my takeaways: Canaanite female deity is associated with the warrior, and virginity is syncretically connected. I like this because I can syncretically connected to the text of Horus. So ancient Egypt at the point has foreign influence already, even at this early point. Horus is not without sin. He disrespects his mother. Oh, and he cuts her head off. So where's this part? Over here. Oh, what is this in which had arrived having no head? So Thoth told Pre-Harakti, my good Lord, that is Isis, the great god's mother. After Horus, her son, removed her head. So in this story, a Set comes into the meeting with no head because her son, who obviously is not sinless, cut his mother's head off. This is foreign influence. If it's not foreign influence by Canaanites and their storytelling, show a Contendings of Horus and Seth where this didn't happen. My point is that ancient Egypt, as we know it, had been changing. We know it changed during the time of the Hyksos. We know it changed. So ancient Egyptian religion is not pure. Family, it's not pure. It changes at some point, and the stories change. And stories are like movies. the sequels and stuff like that. They have some truth, some untruth, but none of this is true because it's a myth. But some of our people want to make myths more important than the truth. And sometimes, family, myths can be more important. Well, that creates schizophrenia. And a lot of our people are schizophrenic because they work in a world, they live in a world where they have these beliefs that are magical, but then they have some real life things, and they think that spirituality, they can tap into the mystery world to bring about changes in the real world. Wow, that's helped us a lot. Helped us a lot. Didn't help us in the slave trade. The millions that were crying and praying and begging on slave ships. God didn't help. But other groups of people say that we were in sin anyway, so it had to happen in us. And then they go and they make it look like, well, of all the people in the world, why did we have the most sin? And then we find out that it's because we didn't believe in their one God concept. But now we have to remix in our world where we have people reading Kemetic literature, and it's only really been around for the last 35 years or so that we've had our hands on it. And there's not a lot of good readers and checkers in our community. You see some of the best. You see Jonathan Owens. You see Dr. Riketti Amen and Brother Bonacci students. You see Infidisi students. I'm a introductory student of Dr. Riketti. You see Jed and Monk. And you see a few. But then you see people who just love to go to pictures on the wall and look at pictures. And then tell you not what the text says, like here, right? They look at the pictures, but they don't even attempt to read any of the Medu Neter at all, right? Not even a smidget, like the great Neter, right? I just can't see all of it. I don't know if this is ascribed, it's gibberish, and men to establish, Nefer. I don't want to go through all of it, but the fact of the matter, here's Hotep. You all say Hotep, you don't even know that this is Hotep. But you listen, you say Hotep all day and brush your teeth with it, but you can't read it on the Medu Neter. And here you have a pet, the sky, in the sky, born the Neter, right? You don't even try to do that. You say, see, family, right? The weighing of the heart is being weighed on a feather. Family, if we're gonna win this war, we only battle among ourselves to get better, to have conversations with people who are the leaders of these churches. I'm talking about the Catholic Church, the other the Islamic churches or mosque, the Hebrew temples, to show them that the great damage that they have done to our people, and they can't have our material. And the only way we can do that if we can read. Now, this term, Hwemwet, here it goes right here, has been most associated as meaning a virgin, Hwemwet. So we go to the TLA. Jonathan Owens has done this on his channel. Shout out to Anka Keck and the Pseudo Killers. I think they have pulled this up because they're using the TLA now. Funny, a lot of people are using the TLA, but we don't see, we have now thousands of shows on ancient Egypt, and we don't see the Kemetics, the ones that call themselves the Kemetics in Shrine. We don't see them reading. Well, anyway, Hwemwet is a girl or a maiden from the water bush. Hwemwet is also a pupil, like pupil in the eye. Hwemwet is also a young lioness, dictionary of coffin text. Hwemwet is also a maiden in the context of a goddess. Hawan Weti is two maidens. Okay. Let me just check again. Where do I see virgin at? Where's virgin? Oh, so if the dictionary says maiden, now do we take maidens and do some multiplication and make maiden now a virgin? Because right here, I don't see any virgin. Hawan Wet is not associated with virgin. So let's just see what the Vigus says. Hawan Wet, maiden, pupil of the eye, maiden, young lioness, pupil of the eye, maiden, Hawan Wet, pupil of the eye. Hawan, okay, this is a different word. Hawan Net, rejuvenated old people. Let me just check again. Hawan Net comes from youthful vigor, infancy, youth. Hawan to be rejuvenated, to be refreshed. Huh. So maybe there's dogma like a Roman Catholic Church with Immaculate Conception, where we take the word maiden and then we do some pseudo multiplication and make it a virgin. Let me just go on. Okay, so we did this already. This text by translation by Carlos Garcia Zarmaca. I'm not going to read the Medu Nature, but Huamwet is here. It says, it is for the inn that these winds have been given by these ladies. So Huamwet here in a Egyptology translation is just these ladies, not associated with virgin. Let's go a little further. Now, we have one that actually says virgin. So we have a text here. I'm sorry, I thought I put the, I apologize to the author for not putting the source, but I thought the source was here. I think I moved some things around. But anyway, it says, when the royal children pacify you what is desired, that's over here, the whole tab, the royal children, right? Pacified merit, what you desire. The officials concentrate the offerings to you. This is the officials concentrating the offerings to you, right? When the lector exalts you in atoning a hymn, when the lector, so this is the, actually, it says Keri Heb. This is the lector priest, the Keri Heb, the big priest, right? Exalts you in atoning a hymn, the magician reads the rituals. Then it says, when the organizer praises you with his lotus blooms, the procession take up the tambourine. Okay. Then it says, the virgins rejoice for you with garlands, the women with the wreath crowns. So this is where it says the girlings rejoice for you. This is the Huemwet right here, right? Huemwet right here, and this is the garlands. Nice. So he inserts virgins because he's seeing an African festival in the context of a feudal European festival. He might make that, but the other text, it just says young women, young ladies. But if I get a translation like this and I don't do the homework, I won't, and I just take this, I won't examine this concept. Where's the sexual connotations? What? Because there's a wreath, there's garlands. Well, young women like flowers, right? Young men like what they like, tools, weapons, right? Musicians like what they like. Where's the sexual connotation? I know that some of you will be fighting me tooth and nail because you love your master. Just say it. Say it, family. I love my master. Say it, family. I believe everything my master says. Say it, family. I wholly in my heart believe what my priest says. Say it with me, family. I love what my priest says. And then when you grow up and you start researching and you find problems with your priest, then you ask the priest and they tell you you're sinning, you're not following the way. In some circles, you get beat up or kicked down the stairs, you become outed. And in other places, you know, you get name calling and stuff like that. Maybe it's all in fun, but you know, everybody knows I am a cockroach. Everybody knows that. I'm a traitor. I'm a cockroach. It may be done in fun. It's not fun to me because it's my life and my work, and I've done a lot of stuff in this community and I've helped people. I can't see why I'm being called names. Am I just being called names just because I'm siding with scholarship with Brother Garfield, who's going to do a better job than I am? I'm just saying that I'm just doing my part in saying that the Isis myth of a virginity is just a myth and it's European. And you've been listening to your priest, right? Say it with me, family. I believe in what my priest says, no matter what. So the lemmings, Hawan, him, and Juan, wet, F, that, so this is the masculine and this is the feminine, have been attested since the pyramid text and originally denoted a boy, youth, or girl. That's all, no connotations. However, at the same time, the metaphorical use of when for pupil on, the lexeme no longer is preserved in Coptic, but there are other lexemes in Coptic that describe the pupil in a similar metaphorical way. All right, see the references. Child, literally mean a man in his eye, literally a daughter in his eyes. Interesting, the phenomenon of describing the pupil metaphorically with expressions of little girl can also be observed in over 30 languages. Pupilla, girl. Not virgin. Just simply girl. What's up with the extra connotations? The dogma. I'm almost finished. Here's another one, translation. The Horus, strong youth, the two ladies who is conquered through the might. All I'm really concerned about is over here, Hor, right? Hawanet. That's all I'm concerned about. Reading the meta nature, Hor Hawanet. The Horus, the strong youth. That's all he is. So is Horus a virgin? Does it matter? It only matters if you want to connect Egyptian with Christianity. Then it matters. But if you just read it, he's talking about Horus, the strong youth, Hawam, with the two ladies who is conquered through might, the golden falcon, powerful over years and great triumph, the king of Upper and Lower Egypt. And guess what, family? This text is exactly what I'm concerned about. Here, your Pharaoh family, written in the Medu Neter family, is none other than Caesar. So family, your Pharaoh may not be Black. And family, not all, and I'm not going to say many, because I do respect Africans that I do respect their beliefs. I respect their beliefs. What I don't respect is when they take their beliefs out of context. You will never, ever hear me talking about Infidisi Jehudi Mas, ever. You can read Meta Neter better than me, up and down and around, right? I just show it. He just doesn't throw pearls to swine, right? He makes you work for it so that you come out a certain type of way. I don't mess with Hassan Khan. We don't disagree every now and then. We joke. You know, I don't believe in I'm not a fan of pyramids. Everybody know that. And and stuff like that. So we have back and forths of issues like that. But his research and scholarship, I don't have a problem with. But here, family, your pharaoh is a foreigner. I hope you're getting my point that ancient Egypt, some of the things that you're reading from Egypt is not really ancient Egypt. It's syncretic beliefs. So it's not stolen. How is it stolen, family, when your pharaoh has Medu-Neter, and he is the king of the Upper and Lower Egypt, and he is the golden falcon, right? He is the Horus. Emperor Caesar is Horus. Family. But that's not ancient Egypt. You know, ancient Egypt was stolen. No, not when traitor ancient Egyptian priests who don't believe in the weighing of the heart consult and work with the new invading king. Let's just go on. I'm almost finished, family. Okay. Oh, heck, I'm at the last two slides. Oh, this right here, family. Let's blow this up. Y'all gotta see this, family. This is Isis. This is a Set, family. And this is her son, Horus, family. You can see that. But if you can't read the Medu-Neter, you don't know that a Set here is actually Cleopatra. And Horus, her son, is really Caesarion. And when you go and see this family and you can't read the Medu-Neter, you are worshiping Greek gods, Ptolemies. And you're gonna, and this story right here is the same, a sentence Horus story. She didn't steal it. She's the queen, the ruler of Egypt. She's the Norsut Binti, the Satra. So you see how these stories move from cultures and cultures. So I think I'm gonna sum up. I really just wanted to talk about here fertility and the virgin and alliance, which I really did. So I'm going to take my beating because you know I'm a poor scholar. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I am I'm pretty much finished, Brother Garfield. I know you don't agree with, I know you don't agree with my my presentation.
I think I had to take the other side of this one. Do me a favor, pass the host back to me so I could let these people in. I know they're lined up to come in. Just click on the link and it's going to say host. And matter of fact, no, don't worry about it. I got it. I could reclaim the host. Don't worry about it. I don't need to do it. All right. Hey, peace and love, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. If you would like to come in and have a conversation with Reggie about what he said, come on in.
Hey, can you put in my Cash App? Because
you know what? I don't know how to do it on Zoom. We're on Zoom.
Can somebody put in my Cash App? Let me just go to YouTube. You know, look. I can buy a nice lunch and stuff like that and continue my work. So I'm gonna put in my Cash App in the chat. If someone doesn't beat me to it and your mods can help me. But you know who I want? I want comedics. I don't want Hebrews or none of those.
I think Sekou was disagreeing with you. I don't know why. Basically, you're presenting why the term virgin doesn't make sense in the context of the word maiden on the Meganetta. That's all you're saying. So the word, it does say the great maiden, I think, right? But the translation of, or the definition of maiden don't mean virgin in that context. Is that what you're saying?
Of course. I thought that made sure clear. I mean, he's who cares?
You know what I find funny, bro?
Who cares what he says?
For years, hold on, brother Reggie. For years, people debate this whole thing about virginity, right? And they read the story, and Jonathan Owen said something very important. The Magi, shout out to the Magi, by the way. He said, it's written with an anthropomorphic sense. You know, you get the idea. But the thing is, we're giving these characters in a story age. So we're making her 40, we're making her 30, we're making her 50, we're making her all type of ages. And we don't know what age it is because it's a story, it's a mythical story. And there's a message behind the story. But it seems, and I say this to everybody, without Christianity, you would not be making these claims for Kemet. Think about it before you respond to that. Without Christianity, you would not be making that claim for Kemet. Nobody's running around 5th century BC saying Isis is a virgin. Nobody's running around 10th century BC saying Isis is a virgin. Nobody. It's all because we are now, you see, we love Kemet because Kemet is what took many of us out of Christianity. So we hold on. When you get out of an abusive relationship and the person who take you out, you credit them for a long time, you know? But let me get these guys in here. Official Law Scores. I hope you're not coming on here to say Reggie man with Jabari. That's tired, bro. We tired. This is not about Jabari. It's about information. All right?
Let me
respectfully.
Wait, give me a second. I'll listen to you. Give me a second. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm doing something. Yeah. Because I haven't checked the chat. I don't check the yeah. So, okay, so I can listen. Like the video.
All right. Reggie, you got to turn YouTube off.
Huh?
I think I hear you YouTube in the back. But go ahead, Official Law Scores. Go ahead, brother.
Now you called me out for exactly what I was gonna say. But
I got that.
hold on, no, let me say it up. Let me just get it out. You don't even know what direction I'm gonna go with my comment.
All right.
What I was gonna say is I agree with you, but it's hard to deflect from that when we're all intelligent adults here and we can hear the pot shots and the jabs. So when we're having when we're listening to the dialogue and we're listening to these different platforms where the information is being disseminated and even shots, indirect or direct, are being thrown at the chat room. Oh, you're God, you're Pharaoh, you're this, you're that. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're priest. Mm-hmm. It's kind of disingenuous to respectfully to say, y'all better not come in here and talk about the Jabari incident when we hear the pop shots going on during the presentation.
But that's between him and Jabari, though.
No,
I understand that, but it takes. No,
let me speak to you.
Let
me speak to you, brother, directly. Right, I'm gonna speak to you directly.
I'm fine with that.
It's
you don't gotta be aggressive about it, though.
It's been okay in this community to take pot shots at Christians. It's been okay in this community to take pot shots at Hebrews. You have show after show after show, right? Throwing them in the river. It's okay to take pot shots at Islam. Now, when we do our own work and clean our own house, and you're not a part of it, I don't know who you are, brother, but I have been in several communities doing all those things. And so I just choose to clean our own house, to stop cults bringing up. I'm not saying that the brother is a bad brother, but I am curious when information has to be paid for, and I get a sense that the information is not correct, and our people are buying it, and we excuse a lot of things in our community a lot of scams in our own community. We excuse it based on popularity of people. And this is YouTube, bro. This is YouTube.
You know, Reggie, hold on a second. Let me say a point. Hold on, Reggie. Let me make a point. You know, for years, I was going in on different people from different groups, right? Nobody said, hey, why are you throwing shots at Kataza or Tazariak or Brother Daniela, the King James craziness? Nobody said a thing. But the minute something is said or somebody throw a shot, it's just the way how YouTube is. I don't know why there's such a big uproar when it applies to one individual. I don't get it though.
For me, I can speak for myself, bro.
Go ahead, my brother.
I don't even have an uproar about it. I look at me. I'm from the Bronx. I've said that to you before. I'm from the Bronx too. I come from that energy of keep the same energy and make sure that energy remains consistent. A lot of people, with the exception of maybe Rob Bourne, wasn't really going like this at Jabari for many years. And it seems, and I'm just as a speculator, that this didn't come about until there was some level of crossover between personal issue and information related issues.
Well, talk to me directly, brother. I'm on the chat. You don't have to talk to me a second.
Bro, but you don't gotta be see you being emotional with me, and I don't even know you.
What I am saying to you, good brother, I'm not, listen, I'm okay, good brother, official lost cause, right? Good brother, I have been targeted. I have been called a traitor. I have been called a cockroach. I have been called not on my information. So look, and my research has been called poor. So this is my work in the community. I'm a human being. I have parents, I have children, I have brothers and sisters, I have ex-wives, I have women that love me. They go on YouTube and they hear this. And I just say, well, let's just deal with the information. Official lost cause, can we deal with the information that I presented, not what's going on? Can we just deal with what I said is wrong or incorrect? Can we do that?
No, absolutely. That's why the initial point that I made was it's hard to stay on just the information when the personal shots is being thrown off of a situation that is semi-personal.
Well, I told you why. The brother said my research was poor. He said it was frosting at the mouth. And I just say, okay, so now if you keep talking extra and not about the information, I'm gonna tip the whole wheelbarrow over. Now, the wheelbarrow is the information. I'm going to tip the information. I'm not going to do anything to the brother. I'm not built like that. I don't do that. But I will drag your poor information. Right?
And we completely. And I can speak for myself. We definitely.
So can we just talk about my presentation? Forget how many pot shots did I take? What? They don't read the meta. That's true.
Stop for a minute. Hold on a second. Let's regroup a second. Let's regroup. All right. Mute yourself a little bit, official last call. Let me see what brother Sekou has to say. Sekou, what's up?
Yes, I'm good, man. I've just been listening, but I have a question for Reggie. But before that, I want to say what I hear from him is a little bit he's been attacked. His members.
Sekou, stop for 1 second. 1 second, Sekou.
He came back and said analysis was poor. Somebody said analysis was poor.
Sekou. Your signal is horrible, bro. And we're on Zoom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's horrible.
That's weird. Let me come out of the room. What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound better now.
Okay, I was saying, well, I have a question for Reggie on the issue of maybe.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead. Let me hear your issue. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question on the issue of mating. So let me, yeah. So first of all, in the English word mating, we all, the etymology, I went to check it out. It comes from a Germanic root word, which means also virgin. So, but we are dealing with a different language, which is not a European language. So my question is, on what foundation is he saying maiden can't be virgin? Is it because he is a scholar of Medu-Neter language, which he speaks and understand the cultural, the way the people speak in terms of their culture, that a certain word cannot have another meaning that we have in English? For example, many African language that I speak, Hausa, Madinga, so in all those three words, a young lady, which is Sunkuru, is the same as a virgin. One word, it means young lady actually, but when you use it in certain context, it means virgin. It's the context that matters, not the word. So if you are saying maiden is not virgin, on what are you standing on to say that? Is it the culture of the Nile Valley, or you think the English word itself? So I don't understand why you are making that differences.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How long have you been studying ancient Egypt?
I've been studying ancient Egypt. I'm not an Egyptologist, but just reading normal writings of scholars. I've been doing that at least close to 2 years.
How long?
2 years.
2 years?
Not of formal studies. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long were you a Muslim?
Okay. Not a.
Hello?
Yeah, for the phone not a. Yes. Sir.
How long were you a Muslim?
All my life since for
Okay.
more than,
Great.
yeah.
Right. Okay, so ancient Egyptian studies requires us to try to read and translate the text. And we know that Germans are great translators, French and English are acceptable, but the German school and the French school has had a longer reign with the Meta-Neter. Why can't we just translate the Meta-Neter for the words directly unless there is a connotation? So the what I did show you, which you don't understand or you didn't want to listen or you couldn't, is that the Egyptian concept of conception is that the man delivers the whole child, the male netter delivers the child in full, and he has to do that by penetrating the woman. So the woman cannot have a child without a penis. Now, in the European worldview, based on Greek and virginity, and in even in Canaan, some Canaanite and stuff like that, they have a different view. It becomes a magical birth where a penis, which is unclean, is not needed for sex. In some cultures, all it means is someone needs to be able to blow in the undergarments. You know which culture that is, right? And or an angel needs to visit and just alert the woman that she's with child. But in the African concept, almost everywhere in Africa, the male and female make love, have sex, F, whatever you want to call it, to produce a child. In the culture of African people, which you say you are an African, even if the woman was a virgin at some point, when she gets married, she consummates to create a child. What is your question, brother? I'm confused.
Okay. No, I think I asked you the question, but the way you answer it, that is not satisfactory. Here is my question to you. First of all, you deal with the vocabulary that the word maiden is not virgin. So I'm trying to ask, if we use the English language alone, the etymology for maiden, it go to the Germanic root word, which is virgin, is actually virgin as well. It can be used for virgin. But I'm asking you, when you said the Medu-Neter word for maiden, it cannot be translated as virgin. I'm asking, on what cultural narrative are you relying on? For example, in Coptic, what is the word? Because the Medu-Neter, as we know, is not a spoken language. So they got all the words from Coptic So the Coptic word for virgin, what is it? Is it different from the Meduneta word that was used as maiden? That's what I wanted you to clarify. Because sometimes a one word can have several meanings. In every language is like that. That's what I'm trying.
Cool. You know the best way to deal with this? I love the question you asked. You asked a beautiful question, because that's the question that everybody has. So when they bring up the word maiden, I'm gonna share my screen real quick. So I want everybody to see this. This is gonna answer your question real quick, right? Reggie, is it okay if I share my screen and show something real quick?
Of course.
All right. Hold on, let me bring this up so I could share it real quick. Yeah, I want everybody to see this, because this actually applies to the question. He's asking the question that people in the audience are scared to come on and ask. And it has to do with the fact that if someone is said to be a virgin, how do you determine if the person is a virgin based off of the words and the dictionaries? All right, hold on 1 second. Let me take this off. Here we go. Virgin. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Right.
All right. So this is the Mark Vigas dictionary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is the words that are in yellow. This is the Mark Vigas saying maiden, maid, right? If you look at the bottom, this is from a dictionary.
Okay.
Maiden. All right. So let's look at the dictionary meaning of maiden and synonyms. Regular English language, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see maiden, unmarried, unwed, single, husbandless, spouseless, celibate, whatever. The maiden void, synonyms. All right. You go down now. I don't know if you guys could see this, but in the archaic sense, this is why lexico.com, for those who do research on words, lexico.com is very important, because sometimes it gives you an archaic meaning. Now,
right.
if the word great, I don't know how great your English is, because you're African and that's not, English is not your first language. But
right.
if you have a noun, right? Say, for example, it says a great maiden or a great virgin. The word great would mean it would be an adjective, because it's describing how the person is. But the adjective can't be another adjective. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So if you say a great maiden, you would go to the noun meaning. So the noun in the archaic means a young woman or a young girl. And people don't fall into the trap of trying to figure out what age Isis is, because people were marrying from the age of 12 in Kemet. It's not like today. It's totally different time period, totally different culture. So when you say great, we know great is an adjective. So the term adjective, you would not use it with a noun. You wouldn't use it with another adjective meaning. So the adjective would be virgin. That's an adjective. So you wouldn't say a great virgin and use back-to-back adjectives. I don't know if Reggie, you could add on to that, because you know the culture better than I do.
So I understand the rule you are stating right now is a grammatical rule in English language, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the question I asked is this, because I wanted to know the context in which maiden cannot be virgin. I know you gave this grammatical rule.
I'm sorry, it's cool. The context, hold on. You see what happened is, hold on. That thing in where it's written in, we got to ask ourselves when we look at the dictionary and the translations from the experts, do any of them translate it as virgin? I have never seen one.
Okay.
And then there's another word. Hold on, this is the point that I wanted to make. I'll follow up on
that's a good point.
Yeah, if you look at this, my brother, look at the screen. You see this word right here? Jonathan Majaya talked about this before, and I think Reggie too. You see this word right here?
Yes.
This is talking about when you're taking somebody's virginity. So this is the word, this is the metagender that they're using here. And then if you look here, right, you look at all the translations of the word henwet, or however you pronounce it, you never see in the dictionary, because the Vigas is like a collection of a bunch of different dictionaries. It never says virgin per se. But if you look at this word in the metagender, it's talking about virgin. So if they really meant virgin, why did they use this metagender to talk about taking away somebody's virginity because they didn't mean it in that context. I don't speak metadata, but I'm using my English mind, speaking mind, and my knowledge of grammar to try to make sense out of what they're trying to communicate.
Yeah, but still, that's like using English rules.
Listen,
It's still
I don't
like
want to.
English
Here's the thing.
But what
Listen,
I wanted
cool.
to know,
No, say cool. I'm talking. This is my show. You're a guest, right? I heard your point. I heard your point. This is not your show. I heard your point. We're getting ready to move on. I'm going to ask you, don't use English, don't use French. Pull up a text in the ancient Egyptian language and make your point with that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to move on from you. I'm not going to argue with. I'm not going to. We've been called lots of names: Negro, nigga, and all of that. You can read the connotations, and you can find out that maybe, in fact,
right. It's a question.
No.
No, wait. I'm asking a question. I came in here to ask a question.
Well, I'm asking you. I'm asking you how I want to answer the question answered. I don't want
you
to
speak about Greek every day here. I don't know what do you read Greek?
Can you hear me? I don't want to argue English, French words. I want to look at the ancient Egyptian language to verify. Can you give me an example in ancient Egyptian that I can look at? Otherwise, next question.
Okay, the next question is this. Since you are a scholar of ancient Egyptian history, my question to you is, we read in the English translation, for some of us who read the English translation, that the Osirian drama states that the husband of Aset died. And he died, and then she eventually got conceived after his death in the drama. Is that true, or was she conceived before Seth killed him, or she conceived after Seth killed the husband? That's what I wanted you to clarify.
Okay, what I did was I read you 5 or 6 analysis from Egyptologists that in all of those 6 things, they say that they had sexual intercourse, either by not reviving Osiris as we believe, just reviving his penis, or creating a wax-like penis, and in other connotations, a kite had sex with the penis. In all cases, there was sex. Can you give me, right, an example where that she had a baby without a penis?
Okay, now Reggie, we are not having an argument. I am asking question for you to clarify. It's not I'm debating you. I'm asking whether she had this baby
After the
husband died.
It was after.
It was after. So if someone got pregnant by a dead person, is that natural?
No, because it's mythology. It's magical sex, bro.
No, within mythology is to assume you create character that look real. We are not saying they are result of a dream.
Right, but bro, she did create a penis though. She created.
So when she created a penis in the mythology,
she got the semen, and that's how she got the semen, bro.
After the death of her husband, right?
Yes. Necrophilia.
Then what are we debating now?
We're debating nothing. What you're doing is, good brother. I asked you for examples. In my presentation gave you 5 statements from Egyptologists. I gave you the Medu-Neter word, right? I showed you a primary where Geb is the father of gods and is going to insert his seed into the child, and you give me nothing.
Okay, I think I'll go out of the chat now. Thank you very much. I think my question has been answered. Now tonight I know Aset got pregnant after the death of Asa. That clarifies it for me.
Yeah, because I read those texts. You can read my presentation. It's nothing I said. I sourced back the text and I showed you the text. And then the problem was that no one understands is when I showed you as Cleopatra as Isis, right? She had sex with Caesar to produce Caesarion, and she is Isis. So that we know that sex is a part of ancient Egyptian and even later Egyptian until the Christian time period where they remixed. I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't like my time wasted when I actually showed it in the presentation. It'd be different if I said, let me show you now. I showed it in my presentation. So I guess I don't speak English, so I was just you was doing something else. I showed sources. Next question.
Eddie King, what's up? Eddie King, you up? I'll mute your mic, bro.
Peace. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I love the presentation. I just had a quick question for Reggie. I've been following him for a long time, and I love his scholarship. You know what I'm saying? But my question was because I've always heard Reggie say that in Egypt there weren't any gods, and that the gods represented principles. Um, so my question was Asar, Aset, and Haru. What would those principles be in regards to those gods? What characteristics would those gods actually be?
As far as a rejuvenation, he is associated with the seasons, the goings on the earth, the different seasons, and the crops. And he is promoted in the story as to deal with the question that humans have, which is the afterlife.
Okay.
So he becomes not the main god or concept or principle in Egypt. He's not associated with creation. That's the other ones, the Ptah, the Needs, the Aten, the Amen, right? The Atum. Those are associated with creation. There's only one, and then there's lower creations like the creation of a man with Canaan. So Osir is resurrected created to solve a problem about what happens in the afterlife. What happens to humans in the afterlife? And the set is in the story as the great mother. She is the one who is totally committed, divinely committed to her family. She's a great mother, and she has an action part. She fights with her husband's assailant. He tries to rape her. She mourns for him. She cries to her sister. They come to a plan of how she can have a birth in a story. It's not real. In a story to give humans an idea that women can fight for their families. And Horus is the boy king. He becomes a ruler. In some of the other stories, before he becomes a ruler, he's sloppy. He's making mistakes. He just thinks that he's his father's son and he should rule, and he has to learn how to rule. Kings have to learn how to rule. So these are stories that help kingship ideas in Africa in general, right? A boy becomes a warrior, right? He has to fight against his own family sometimes. And in ancient Egypt, or in Egypt, that in fact happened many times. But Egypt solved that problem really by one king at a time. And they were very hard on people who contested the living king. So they didn't have too many social revolutions. So the story worked well in Nubia or Kush, Nubia, and ancient Egypt to have one king at a time and few contests that would destroy the people and cause wars. up until the intermediate periods where there were no heirs, like for example, Pepi II, and then Egypt went into chaos. Everybody thought that they could be a king, and they fought to the death. And so you have like 100 kings in a small period, living and dying until it's whittled down to 3 contestants on around Tefi, the Thebians, and the descendants of Keti. And the Thebians Mentuhotep beat the child of the Nusut, what they call the child of the Nusut. That's the Keti people, Merikari people. And then they create this story called the Assyrian story. They put the pieces together, and you have the coffin text that has more funerary stuff for everybody, and then that goes to the Purdom Heru.
Hey, brother Reggie. Peace and love. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, please. I'm gonna say his Cash App is Reggie Marbury, $ Reggie. Is it Reginald Marbury?
Reginald, that's my
Yeah,
name.
Reginald Marbury is the Cash App. For the moderators, please put that in the chat. Reggie, you know what? You put it in the chat, and then they'll copy it, so we have it right. Also, anyone who wants to come in and ask Brother Reggie a question, I would love to come on in. I love the question that Sekou asked, because a lot of people in the audience wanted to ask that question. And what happened is, when Asar was put as pieces back together, she could not find his private part in one of the versions of the story. So she made up her own penis and attached it to him. But again, this is all magical sex. This is not real sex. But she got his semen. How did she get his semen? This is all it says in the translation. She got his semen. Semen has to do with sex. So whatever magical sex she did, she got his semen. So it's not a virgin birth. Or as a matter of fact, why would we think that Aset was a virgin? Why is that in our minds? Morpheus, why is that even in our minds that she's a virgin? I'm telling y'all, without Christianity, that mindset don't even come into play. Y'all are Christianizing Kemetic thought, which is superior, in my opinion, to the thought, because it's an African thought. It's superior than the thought of the Levantine region. It's superior because it's an African thought that's throughout the continent. But we wanna compare and contrast with somewhere that's not so, that we are superior to. We're the A side, and you want to compare us to the B side. But anyway, go ahead, my brother.
Yeah. So,
Yo, peace. Hey, Reg.
hey, what's up?
What's up, man? Peace, man. I got. Let me ask you a question. Is there only one rendition of the story, or is there multiple? Like, does the story change in different time periods, or what I mean? Is it like linear? Is it consistent through every period, or is there different renditions of that story?
Yeah, it's like Alibaba and the 40 Thieves told the way that Arabs would sit down and tell stories, and a different person would put a different spin on a story, right? And it changes. We don't have any. We know that during the pyramid text, Asar is mentioned in the pyramid text, and then we have fragmentary pieces to deal with kingship, and then we do have some pieces that actually deal with the next story of filling in the blanks. And one of the popular ones is the Contendings of Horus and Seth, which is in the 19th dynasty, at least one of those redemptions. So the answer to your question is, first, it's just a story. Yes, it's many different versions of the story, but in all the stories, a set has intercourse, right? That is the point of my conversation today. The virgin thing, it has something to do with some other groups of people, but Anath, who even is in the Contendings of Horus and Seth, and she's a virgin. So you get these connotations put in the story, and someone tells it a different way. But the indigenous writers, the major point was that Seth represented the foreign, the the foreign people, an African who would mess with foreign people for rulership. He's always seen that way, right?
Right.
And so there's no Brother Morpheus. There's no one story
Right, right. You
until
know what I said that? I asked that. That's good you said that because what Garfield just asked was a good question. Because my thought process is, let's say you got this story and you got different versions of the story. So then somebody comes along and their argument of the story is they're extrapolating from the one that they particularly read. You feel me? And I can say, well, the one I got don't have that virgin stuff in it. You know what I mean? So it's like, hold on, that's not inside the original story. It might be in the Middle Kingdom story. So where they grabbing that from? Like what story or what period of time? So that you know what I mean? So then
that's the one, right? So let me correct myself. The completed story is not African. It's in the Greek period.
oh,
So the people that so I'm coming from an African filter, and I know that the most of the stuff that we've heard from our elders come from them reading Greek literature. And so we are and then the worst is the people with the skill set after the elders to continue it without looking. So some of our Egyptian priests, I'm not just talking about one person, ancient Egyptian Kemetic priests or nothing more than Greek priests. They're nothing more. Their stories come from Greece. Now they're struggling to justify it in ancient Egyptian literature, but they haven't, over the years, showed the text, right? And even if you want to pull up Budge to look at things like the Purdom Heru, Infidisi will tell you, and I'll tell you, he makes a mistake in every 3-4 lines. Everybody makes mistakes, but it's not a holy book. His rendition has mistakes, and it's been retranslated by several different people. So now when you got people who's reading the Medu Neter and then making mistakes and then bringing connotations, you have a pile of garbage in, garbage out. Now, so the answer to your question is the biggest collection is in the Greek and the Ptolemy period, where a lot of these stories are remixed into their period, and a lot of our Suedos actually source those because they come up on Google. Which of them in the libraries? Morpheus, have you seen any of these people in any research library? They're not a library. They're Googling stuff, and they're reading books. So what we're doing is now it's 2022. We're just checking some of that when a person says in this debate that Christianity stole ancient Egyptian religion. They might. So if you still, let's say you steal my, what kind of hat am I wearing? Okay, I'm wearing my baseball. Let's say I had a Gucci hat on from New York. Let's say I had a fake Gucci hat on, or something that was printed without the authorization of Gucci, and you steal that, right? Did you steal from Gucci? No, you stole a replica of Gucci. So replicas are being stolen, and not even stolen, given with permission. Egyptian pharaohs, at some point, are foreign pharaohs, but they have the full support of the Egyptian people. How's it stolen? You got Egyptian priests in there dusting statues, doing rituals, writing, saying that he's the great, the strong bull. You have a whole culture supporting a foreign ruler. So you might be upset with that and say it's stolen, but no, the people got conquered and some people submitted. You might be upset with that, but you weren't there. But worse, now you are a priest today, or you're a religious adherent, and you're following the Greeks, the Hellenists. So you're doing the same thing, and you're not even correcting it. And you want to be strong and goddamn wrong with supporting issues, and people's, not just one person, but people's aptitude of reading the text is limited. But you want to be wrong and strong, and you know who you want to pull up? You want to pull up a European document to support your cause. And it's different. I'll pull up a European document to support the cause because I know where our Black scholars got it from. And so this is not, listen, Garfield is going to do a great job. Well, he may have the same problem I'm having. Talking to a people that's totally brainwashed and indoctrinated, that doesn't know the difference between authentic African and Europeans writing for them. It's like in America, Europeans are writing for us as if we don't exist.
Hold on, beloved. Hold on. Yo, Smash is crazy, man. Smash said Mississippi is ISIS, because you know he rocking with the dude in the chat who said he's Jesus from Mississippi. He said Mississippi is, where is it at? I gotta find that comment. Yo, I had to stop the show for that, man. Yo, Smash is nuts. Hold on, let me find it. Let me find it real quick. Where is it at? Oh man, I missed it. Oh man. See, with StreamYard, I would have caught that with the quickness, man. But when you
let him write it back. Mississippi, what say we got them?
He said Mississippi ISIS.
Yeah, like remembrance means prayer. Yara, right? I mean, these people,
hey, but the reason why he said Mississippi equal Miss ISIS PP.
Oh, man.
Hey, but what people need to understand though, when Garfield says that Kemetic thought has a lot to do with the white man, I'm referring to the Greek translations, what Reggie's talking about. I'm referring to how it got to us. Not that the Black people originally were white or white information. The Black Africans who are the homeland people, indigenous people of what we call ancient Egypt today, were Black Africans. There's no doubt about that. The issue is we are having people telling us about our, and I'm saying our as in an African story from their perspective. It's like the cult of Serapis. The cult of Serapis is so tricky because Serapis now is a mixture of different traditions, but it's primarily Greek. People don't realize that. It's primarily Greek. Well, go ahead, Morphe. Oh, August 3rd, you got a question? I'll mute your mic, bro.
Yeah, how y'all doing, man? I just want to say peace to you, brothers.
Peace and love, peace and love. What's your question, brother?
Brother Reggie, right? I want to ask, the question is two questions. In the story of, I don't know if y'all covered this, but I just want to have some clarity for myself. The story of Isis, Set, and the Asar, is that the first time they meet? Does it say like this is the first time they met when they had this encounter of him dying?
Well, see, that's the problem is that the stories that we do have are in pieces and in fragments. So it's not until the Greek period that you have whole stories. So the pieces in ancient Egyptian directly just talk about things like rulership, the authority to rule, who Asar is when you pass away and you become an Asar. We all become Asars when we pass away, male and females, right? And so they're in fragments, and we do get some pieces, but we don't get this whole love story or tragic story of gods all in one piece until the Greek age, the Hellenistic period. Yeah, and that's including us. See now, ISIS now. And let's say talk about Isis and Cleopatra. You actually had this art imitates life, or life imitates art. You actually had this drama play out with Cleopatra,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Yes.
So my second question, right, is if it doesn't state, this is the first time, then why do people assume that they never had sex prior to him dying?
Bro, what's your name? What state you live in? You are smarter than everybody in the room. You see, that's the issue. If they are married, and I think Smash had said that too. Smash and Reggie had said that. If they're married, why wouldn't you think they already had sex? Why does she have to be a virgin? Again, because take Christianity out the picture, nobody would be talking about virgin birth. Nobody. Take them out the picture. Because if you look at people in other cultures, because you have surrounding cultures, you got the Nuzi tablets, you got the Ebla tablets, you got the Mari texts, you got all these different texts, you got the Hammurabi, you got all these different texts, you got the Ugaritic texts, you got the stuff in Sumeria, Mesopotamia, Hittite texts, all these different texts around with people that used to trade with Kemet, and you're telling me not one of them have a birth without actual sex, and I could give you 5 right now. 5 right now. And they don't call it virgin birth. It is sex without having intercourse with a woman and a man. You would call that a virgin birth. You would call it, but without the Christianity at all, you don't really care about that. That's just how people wrote mythology. But we want to say, hey, you know what? And by the way, too, the virgin birth in the Bible is so technical of how it even came about. It's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous.
Well, I think that, good brother, you are closer to being free than most of these people who want to bring in other connotations. I could show you countless of love stories in ancient Egypt where they are having sex before marriage. Marriage is actually, they don't have a marriage ceremony like we have. What happens is 2 people come together, and they might come together because now a child is on its way and she's pregnant, and they come together and they live their lives. They don't have a European marriage. So you're freer by asking a question that doesn't have any European connotations. And you can, and that's a beautiful thing, is because you can have an African come on and ask the question with European connotations. You ask the question simply, why, if they're together, why couldn't they be having sex before a child is born? A lot of us, we have sex, and then when a child is conceived, then we make a decision. But nobody knows if the woman is a virgin or not until the baby is, until the woman is pregnant. Why do we have to live lives in magic when we know the truth about things? Why do we have to invent all these fantastic stories?
By the way,
I'll give you credit.
And by the way, too, we do have a tradition where Mary is not a virgin in Christianity. There is a virgin, an early version of the story where she's actually not a virgin, where you have Jewish people who are rewriting the tradition. Because remember, Matthew and Luke is from a Jewish perspective. The people that would believe in a virgin birth, you got to know about the sex, the Hellenistic sex. You got to know about the Sadducees, the Pharisees, the Zealots, the Essenes. All these different people are corrupted because now you're living in a Hellenistic world. So now you're gonna have, but why did they come up with this virgin birth in the Bible, and how you connect it to Kemet is a whole nother ball game. It's not they see it on the walls, because I'm scourging through all the church fathers. And when they talk about, oh, how could you have a baby without having sex? They never one time mention Heru and Isis. They mention Alexandra, they'll mention Jupiter, they'll mention this one and that one, but they don't mention, if they copied it from them, why they not giving them the props? Why they not saying, hey, it just like how y'all hold to this virgin birth with Isis and Heru, that's how we hold to it. They never said that. They never said that.
Well,
right. That's another thing too. I wanna ask too.
can I ask a quick question to Morpheus if he's still online? Morpheus, you still online? Morpheus, are you there? Okay, so he's not on the line. So I'm sorry, August 3rd. You can
He's
answer.
still
Alright.
here. He's still here. Morpheus is still here.
Morpheus, can you unmute? No, he's not. He might be doing something. He don't hear me. Because I wanted to ask how well, I want to know if how Muhammad was conceived, and I want to know about how Isa and,
Nah, I don't want to change. I don't want to change. I don't want to go there.
well, I just wanted to show how stories change. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. My bad. My bad. Okay, I got
He's not answering anyway. So August 3rd, go ahead.
Yeah. My last statement is in regards to like what they say, that it came from this, the Christian theology came from they stole it, or whether from, whatever, from this story. Is there any proof that they point to say this is when it was stolen and this is how the Christian got it? Like, do they point to any point in time and reference a
Watch it. Watch
person?
it. Watch this. Watch this. The white man made that up, bro. I could tell you the date, the year,
Right.
and the name of the person. A white man made that up. If you look about it, think about it for a second, right? The people who were anti-Christianity, you're talking about Porphyr, you're talking about Celsus, you're talking about Julian the Emperor, you're talking about the people who
Right.
were in different schisms, Donatism, and anyone that
Right.
talked about Jesus. When you track all the records that this guy from where's he from? Bayaza, whatever his name is, Gregorius or whatever. All these people are against Christianity, but they don't say one thing. They don't say Jesus don't exist. They just say the mythical elements, like what Dr. Clark would talk about, is garbage. That's what they're debating. We don't believe in the myth. We don't believe in no resurrection. We don't believe in no virgin birth. We don't believe in none of that. But they don't say Jesus don't exist. What happened is you had a movement that started not in the last, probably in the last 300 years, that started saying Jesus don't exist. This is how they do it. They correlate Egypt with that and say, since Horus was a myth, Jesus is a myth. That's what started that movement. We could trace it back to the writing, to Sethos with Tesseron, or to Vale, who inspired Stolen Legacy with my big bro that passed on, that woke up a lot of people to Kemet, which is George G.M. James, who actually Dr. Ben repeats a lot. And I'm telling you, we could trade this. When I say Kemet is the white man's religion, I'm not talking about ancient Kemet. I'm talking about the one that's being pushed in our community. I'm not talking what Asar Imhotep does, who's an African-centered scholar. I'm not talking about what Jonathan Owens does. I'm not talking about what Reggie does. I'm not even talking about even what Sanjeti does, because he reads the text. I'm not even talking about what Wujawu does. I'm talking about the people who are commercializing, who have made up a whole system. You're talking about the Rosicrucian Society. You're talking about Sethos. All these books are fictional writings which people took literally. The Corpus Hermetica. I'm talking about all those writings, again, by white folks who are interpreting Egypt and they couldn't read the text. Plutarch couldn't read the text. When they start looking at the text and say, hey, look at these funny animals. Why they have all these gods with these heads? If you read the writing, you see that they don't know the text. So how are you going to tell us a story about a text you can't even read? You're just basically copying what somebody else said, and then you add it on. That's why the story in Plutarch is more complete than anyone in the history of even ancient Egypt. Go ahead, Brother Reggie.
Yeah, so I think you're absolutely accurate, and I think that's why you're the best for this debate. Yeah, because you don't have any how can I say, anonymous. But I have been a member of these communities, the scholarship communities, for years. And this Kemetic group is a group of people that sit on the sidelines for the most part. They don't present often, and they present on spiritual things. But here, this is fact finding. This is based on reading the Meta Neter to prove their point. And look, everybody can prove their point. But the fact of the matter is, to say that it was stolen is silly when Cleopatra is the queen ruler of ancient Egypt, and she's properly coronated. So it's and she calls herself Isis, and her son is Horus, and he sees him, and he's the Son of God. And this brings us right into the periods before Christianity is built or written. And so now we have poor scholarship of people not tracking, who have great education, who don't seem to track the stories to find out where they came from, and then want to say and be strong and wrong to say it was stolen when we don't have anybody saying it was stolen. It was borrowed, it was used, it was accepted, it was absorbed, right? It was loved, it was hated. It was part of how people think.
Well, even Dr. Bendo, he talks about how stuff was brought to Kemet. So we say Kemet stole an idea. You wouldn't say that. We would never say that. We would
Only
say that people adopt ideas that they find that would benefit their culture. And I think there's a lot of things in Kemet they adopted because they felt it benefited their culture. A lot of something they adopted didn't benefit them. One of the things they did was have an open border. They should have been more like Donald Trump, in my opinion. And they wouldn't have had, they
They
wouldn't have
like charismatic people. So let's get down to it. Church pastors, preachers, priests, or have been the leader of the undisciplined mind. They do all the homework for you, and all you have to do is parrot it. And so charismatic people who are priests, prophets, pastors, reverends, we have not evolved. We have not evolved to do the hard work. We don't do well in law as a group of people. We don't have a political plan. So listen, I'm not going to be long. I definitely want to take a break. I think I tried for the community. I'm just sum up right now, unless there's another question. I tried for the community to look at the term that is most often associated. I showed several examples. I read texts that are Greek that people subscribe to get their information. I showed in other scholars saying that the African way is to actually have sex. I showed in ancient Egypt that a child is delivered through the penis. The male controls the fertility and not the female. So the emphasis is always on the male, not the female. And so I showed meta-nature text. I showed my sources and citations. I showed Egyptologists that said that it did not, that the myth is false, that they had sex. You can believe what you want to believe. You can be wrong and you're strong, but I'm just going to tell you that you're going to have to source up or shut the hell up. I don't want to hear no gibberish about back and forth about what you think. I ask you, you want to be strong and loud and start talking, show your sources. And guess what happens, Garfield? Then they leave because I'm requiring sources. So,
hey, Reggie, one thing that's important though, we got to pay many attention to and the greatness of African culture, because in Egypt they did a proper process for the dead, which is called mummification. In Christianity, you don't have that. They also had mastabas, which were created for the heads. The Israelites never had that. They never had mastabas, although there's an African context to mastabas before Kemet. We do not see that with Israel. We don't see magic spells, casting of magic spells while people are put to death before in Christianity. In Egypt, this is how Africans would think. They are marrying you with special grave goods when you're going to be buried. And these grave goods, right now in Jamaica, I saw a guy got buried with a BMW. You see, that's to show you how Africans think. You don't see that in Christianity or Judaism. And so just dealing with the afterlife alone, you see a major difference with these cultures. But go ahead, Brother Rick.
No, you're absolutely right. So the African tradition is take your belongings with you, so you can have an afterlife. The Christian version is you don't need your belongings in the afterlife. The Africans are saying, "Oh hell no, I'm taking I'm taking everything with me. Put that shit in the room, put the food in the room, and I'm gonna live there forever. And the other thing is, people don't know that many of the kings that were mummified, do you know they were mummified with erect penises? King Tut, our favorite boy king, he's mummified with an erect penis. So they want to continue sex. Sex is a major part of what the Africans understood to be human. And so it was something that wasn't looked at bad by women or by men. It's looked at by Christianity and you converts, even you new age, ancient Egyptian converts. You're still converts until you start reading the actual text. Right. So with that said, Garfield, I hope you've seen from my presentation some of the problems that you may occur in a live debate where people don't want to give up their BS. They have no sources, they haven't done any reading, but what they want to do is just talk ish. They want to talk ish and ask, and that some of the people ask good questions and some of the people ask very bad questions when I show the information. They just want to be heard. And Garfield, I hope these platforms stop making us look like we're against African culture. We're not. I've spent more time in African culture than most people on this platform. But I do want to be honest about what I've learned and what I've saw from my teachers. So with that said, I haven't eaten lunch yet. And so I'm going to eat lunch so I don't get so I can deal with my my health situation. So I hope people appreciate the work that I did, and hopefully people appreciate your platform. This is a platform that I can give information for directly to the people. And other platforms, I mean, I appreciate my time and my continued time on Sundays platform. I appreciate it. I appreciate the pseudo killers. Go watch pseudo killers.
Yeah.
Oh, and to everybody that know, there was a sister. She was a beautiful sister on the chat. Her name was Sister Ellie, and she passed away. And I just wanted everybody to know who might have spoken to her on the chat. That she passed out, that her husband called me and told me she passed away.
Oh man. Sister Setman, we spoke a couple of days ago. So she's still hanging in there. She's battling cancer for this long time period. She hopes to actually do an interview with me so she could tell everybody thanks for the contributions what we did for her. But it is what it is. And the sister that passed, man, I hope her family gets through it. It's a rough time. Hope the husband gets through it. It's a rough time, dealing with death. And I want to say to everybody, all the people, we had up to 250 in the chat at one point. I want to say to everybody, thank you for the support. And I think I'm gonna do a text blast for this presentation, man. I want this to get some views. A lot of people need to see this video. We need to get over 8,000 with this video. And I want to say to everybody, man, peace and love. And I appreciate it. I don't know.
Oh man, I wanted to give.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sabio. Go ahead, say something, man.
Yeah, I wanted to say, Brother Reggie, that was a beautiful interview. I mean, a beautiful presentation. The information was right on point. I was able to follow it through. And some of the things that I have been saying about it not being stolen, I can see are pointing out, are being pulled out. And I'm glad people are catching up and can actually see that there's no way Christianity could be stolen from Kemet. Garfield, I'm ready for you to body this debate, and I want to see what you're gonna do to Sekou, because I seen what you pulled out, and bruh, I'm gonna leave it at that.
Hey, Sekou is more African than everybody else. He says he's African-centered using white anthropologists and white archaeologists' work, but we only must use Black people's work. I don't know who are these Black people that he's talking about. But we're gonna deal with Sekou this weekend because he lied a lot about that French translation. How is it he could read French and he's trying to trick us? As brother Unc would say, he tried to use that Trickham scholarship, but he got caught because what we did, we went down to the Stromberg and we got the right information. So my brother, we gonna be coming back. We went to the museum to fact check what you said, bro, and it came up, nah, get out of here. Get out of here with that. That's all I'm gonna say to that. So brother Reggie, yes, sir.
Yeah, only other, see, I was the only person I can say that that I'm always concerned about and having a different opinion is Smash Rockwell, brother Casual Jonathan Owens, because he reads like I read, and then there's also a song Ka, right? And so I'm happy that I survived this part on the myth. But that doesn't mean that Smash doesn't have a comeback. But yeah. So with that, Garfield, thanks for giving me a place to present, and I'm hoping that you learn from what you have to do better than I. Even
there's some stuff I want to add on, but I'm gonna leave it right there. But I think if the debate happens, I'm gonna add it on. But just to let people understand the culture more. I don't think I mean, outside of when the Amara Squad used to be on Blog Talk or on their shows, I mean, I don't think the people really understand Kemet. And it's sad you have people teaching that Asar was a real guy, Isis was real, and that's from their interpretation. And I mean, it's sad. Everybody have their own way of teaching Kemet. With Smash Rockwell, I'll say this, I wish I was humble as Smash is, because he's very humble with his delivery. So he's not saying, I'm absolutely right. You know, sometimes we talk like there ain't no absolutes in this mother effer. It's about being come to the most near correct point of a certain issue. You know what I'm saying? Well, ladies and gentlemen, shout out. Remember to check out Sister Monica Lamb every Wednesday. That's my boss. And we out of here. I don't know if there's any questions in the chat.
Yeah, Morpheus, did you have something real quick you wanted to say before you leave? Because you came back.
I just looked up and saw somebody asked me to say something, but no, I'm good.
Oh yeah, and I want all Islam smoke from the Moors, the Muslims. I want it all. Y'all not getting away. Y'all not getting away. Yes, sir. I'm not letting the Muslims and the Moors get away. No, I found a video today that tied up everything that I've been talking about. Everything. So if y'all think y'all getting away, no, I want all the smoke. So bring the Muslims, Moors, turncoats this way.
Uh-oh.
They don't fight fair.
Yeah.
I don't fight fair no more.
Aslam Teslam.
Teslam.
All right, I'm out of here. Peace and love, family. One love. Thank you again, brother Reggie. Hey, Reggie, you need to do one on the I don't know if you want to do one on the resurrection or one on the festivals. I wish you and Smash and Asar or somebody do something on the festivals.
Well, yeah, Smash is
African religions. I see Asar's article on Osiris or Asar. He lays out a lot of the festivals that's being celebrated, and I think we need to understand let me ask you this, Reggie, and be honest. Did the people worship on Sundays in Egypt?
What Sunday? What day did they make a Sunday? How the hell you make a day Sunday? They had 10-day weeks, right? I mean, so what I mean, they have a whole calendar system.
Did they have like religious meetings? That's what I mean, like religious.
Well, the priest was a regular worker. He just worked in the priest. He came home to his family, right? The Semiac, the priestess, she worked in the temples and came home to her family, right? Mm-hmm. When so sometimes they were gone for a while, and sometimes they were, and they husband and wife, they had sex. They didn't it's not Christianity. We want to make everything Christianity. It's not that Christianity was stolen. I mean, Africa was stolen into Christianity. It's just
so the priest could have sex?
Yeah.
In Roman Catholic, the priest can't have sex. So how they stole that part? How they stole the Heru and the baby, but they ain't steal the part that the priest could have sex? That's crazy.
The Hem Netchers, the Hemet Netchers, the priestesses, they have children. They got sex.
Hey,
they have sex and children.
Golden God, they had 10-day weeks. That's what they divided into, bro. We have the maps, we have the primaries. They divided into 10-day weeks. So we know 7-day weeks was more of a Mesopotamian thing. It's just like the 365-day calendar. That's a Kemet thing. 360-day is a Sumerian thing, or 354. Then you have the 60-second clock. That 60-second one, 60 seconds in a minute, that come from Sumer. So you have different things from different eras. Ain't no big thing. But
Yeah, just
I want to know where the priest, if Roman Catholicism copied it so much, why they didn't copy the whole thing with what you call it?
They didn't copy. They remixed. They took parts that they wanted to part and put it in their worldview.